Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal. And I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How you doing tonight?
Great. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Big win tonight.
Big win. Big snowfall. We needed the snow, I guess. So lots going right in Edmonton right now. Not everyone looks at a big snowfall as a good thing, but it's been dry here, so
we need some
precipitation.
ground cover, and we need something to leach out into the springtime to make it a little less dry for sure. So
Indeed. Bruce, a huge win for the Edmonton Oilers. They snap a 3-game losing streak. They beat division rival LA Kings 4-2 in a very in a game the Oilers deserved to win. They were better in all aspects of the game. Grade A shots were 13-8 for the Oilers, with the subset of 5 alarms 7-4 for the Oilers. So the Kings, the Oilers did a good job defensively, which is one of the first times we can say this month, and it's is this the first time they've allowed less than 3 goals this month?
Yes, after 10 in a row.
That wasn't your number, was it?
Nope.
Okay, good.
I got lots of numbers, but that wasn't going to be the one.
Okay. This is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast with 1 conundrum. Bruce, but because it's a big Oilers win, we'll just go with 2 good things each. Excuse me. I was just looking at a note you wrote on our score sheet. You just thought that the last we dinged McDavid on one of the Fiala's chants at the end. You thought that might be a bit harsh on McDavid there. Maybe he did all. It was a cross. It was a pretty sharp pass to the point from the corner, though. That anyway.
Yep, it was.
This is our private discussion.
I argued earlier with you that McDavid should have got a. So it's not a biased thing at all. It's just different opinions on a particular player.
Yeah, no, we're both biased in favor of McDavid and all the Oilers players. I don't see us hating on any of them, honestly. Now and then, perhaps. Bruce, what's your first good thing?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stu Skinner, who, for all that he didn't face a huge number of real high quality shots by our counts, he nonetheless faced 40 shots, and he faced a lot of them through traffic, and with lots of guys buzzing the tower, and pretty tense in and around the net. But I'll go back specifically to the crucial turning point of the game, which was LA got a 5-on-3 power play, already leading 2-1 midway in the second period, and the Oilers killed off most of the first one, which was a very dicey holding the stick penalty on Evan Bouchard, which Bouchard didn't see it that way, and I'm not sure I did either. The guy kind of got a stick in and couldn't pull it out. Well, usually they call that hooking, but this was holding the stick. But anyway, they almost had that killed off, and then Vincent Harney carelessly high-sticked the guy in the corner, and LA had a 2-man advantage for just 24 seconds. But in those 24 seconds, they had 3 lethal, potentially shots. Adrian Kempe, in alone, was a 2-on-1, and he chose to shoot, and then he got the rebound. And Skinner made 2 huge saves right in a row there. And then there was another great chance just a few seconds after that on the same power play where it was still a 5-on-3, and that cross seam pass caught the guy in the high slot. Can't remember who it was the shooter on that. But again, another wicked drive and a terrific save by Skinner. And that was the point that it seemed like the crowd got into the game. I mean, I don't know if people were at the game. You can tell me better. But it seemed like the crowd was kind of in the doldrums a little bit. So were the Oilers. And when they killed that penalty, it was a different dynamic thereafter. And of course, Edmonton scored uh, the next three goals to win it 4-2, and Skinner completely slammed the door the rest of the way. And I thought he looked strong, he looked confident, and I thought he did not quite perfect, but good job of controlling his rebounds and freezing pucks in all that traffic. And for dessert, he made a beautiful little outlet pass on the 4-2 goal, which you're going to talk about more. But it was there was too many passes thereafter for him to get an assist. But it was he started the play right from behind the net with a good first pass, and it was just sort of icing on the cake of what I thought was a really fine bounce back game from the netminder. Very good to see.
Yeah, he started off that virtuous cycle. Um, he looked like his old self. The Kings, I thought, were early on, especially taking lots of hard outside shots at him because they've probably been watching the recent games where
Mm-hmm.
he's been iffy on outside shots. They were firing away tonight, and but he was solid. He looked like his old self suddenly, just like the Oilers did. All of a sudden, they kind of, aside from a few major defensive gaffes on both goals against,
Both goals, yeah,
were horrendous mistakes. Honestly, just
by both defensemen in each case. So
yeah, just both. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit about that later, but or a lot, but Skinner just looks solid, steady, and he's a Stuart Skinner the Oilers need in the playoffs. Bruce, my first good thing will be Zach Hyman. I thought he was the Oilers' driver tonight as much as any player. He was in the middle of almost every good moment, starting with first really good play of the game for the Oilers. He wins the puck in the corner, puck protects and gets a backhand shot, which he puts off the post. A moment later, McDavid makes a beautiful pass to him, and he harpoons it in the net, one-timer shot for Edmonton's first goal near the end of the first period, which was just such a critical moment in the game to tie it up. McDavid wrapped around a shot in the second, and Hyman was there, Johnny in the spot. He almost put that in. Then his hustle draws a penalty, and the Oilers cash in on that power play. Then early in the third, with the game tied
right,
at 2, he makes a critical screenplay on the goalie, upsetting the goalie on Bouchard's outside bomb. And
you upset him all right.
he sure did. He sure did. And a moment later, he digs out the puck and sets up Drysdale for a great shot. So he was just again and again and again making fantastic plays, Zach Hyman. He's got it. He looks healthy, and it's critical that Zach Hyman remain healthy. Like last year, he was so good all season long, and then I think he got banged up in the last 20 games.
Yep.
Wasn't very good in them, and then he wasn't very good in the playoffs. So,
Yep. Yeah, he was
critical
well
player
under
for
100% down the stretch last
yeah,
year.
critical player for the Oilers, and he is sure playing well now. It's great to see because he seems like just a genuinely outstanding human being, and he's a genuinely outstanding hockey player in the NHL.
Writes kids' books in his spare time. What's not to like?
Exactly,
So
Bruce.
anyway,
Exactly.
38 goals in 56 games. So he's on pace for at least 55. It might round up to 56 goals if he plays the full season. And actually, I think he missed a game earlier, but the team's played 56. So he should be, he's well comfortably on pace for 50, even if he slows down a bit. And if he's going to be playing with McDavid and at times Drysdale and on Oilers' first power play, he's going to keep getting chances and he's going to keep getting chances just based on what he does himself. He creates chances, solo chances by winning puck battles and just driving it hard to the net.
Well, Bruce, he leads the Oilers in grade A shots per game. Last year it was
Shots.
McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, let me just go to the chart that I did up. He's getting 2.6 grade A shots per game. Drysdale and McDavid are next, 2.1 each. So that's, if you're getting more grade A shots at net than McDavid and Drysdale each game, you're doing something right. What's your second good thing, Bruce?
Yeah, I'll go with Leon Drysdale, who I thought had a terrific, especially second half of this game. I thought he really bossed this game, and he earned well. He scored the tying goal on the power play. The Oilers got a power play after the Kings had failed on their two-man power play. Edmonton got one power play in the second, and it took them all of what do we got here? Uh, 15, 13 seconds to score. And it was just one cycle, and I think they had a shot, and then they cycled again. They came back to Evan Bouchard, and he fired a good low outside shot. He just wristed it in. It wasn't like let's pass and pass and pass and pass. Let's get pucks on net, and he got it on net, and he got it within range where Drysdale could get a stick on it, and he tipped it right through the knees of Riddick to tie the game at 2-2. And then he was involved also in the winning goal, um, teeing up Bouchard with just basically he did that, put it on the tee for Bouchard to let fly with a rocket of a shot from the blue line that overpowered Riddick. But more than that, like Drysdale was just he had his legs going. I thought he was good on the back check. He was bringing it hard. There was one play where he went one-on-one. He went almost right around Drew Doughty and powered a one-handed shot on net. That was, almost a partial breakaway. And he wasn't able to, pick a corner with it or anything, but he got a lot of mustard on it. And I just liked his intensity, and I have a feeling that he sort of might have had a look in the mirror maybe Sunday morning or so after the Calgary game when he took that bad penalty, and he owned it after the game that it was, just a dumb play, and he played like a guy who was feeling a little guilty maybe. Anyway, he brought his A game, and I thought he got more dominant as the game went along. So he had 5 shots on net in this game to lead the Oilers, and also goal assist, and just he was 60% on the dot, but only 5 faceoffs this game. The refs booted him out even more often than usual, I guess, because he got and of course he and McDavid both on the same line. They both take the draws. So, but I just thought he was strong throughout, and a big part of the reason Edmonton was able to take over and eventually walk off with the 2 points.
He was really good. That was his best game in some time.
Yes.
And it's good to see. It's a long regular season. Yes. And I think what we're seeing in February is a little bit of that. This just the length and the wear of the season. The playoffs are still a little like the trade deadline's yet to be here. Things change after the trade deadline and you get to March. And I think you can see the playoffs in your sights and you start gearing up for that. So I think a little bit of the inconsistency and poor play from the team and players like Drysdale has been related to that. But I think you're right, Bruce. He had tons of motivation, and he just was a bull out there. He led the team with 8 major contributions to grade A shots this game. So he was their best offensive player by quite a bit, I thought, actually. He was just the straw that stirred the drink on the attack, he and Hyman. My second good thing, Bruce, is the insurance goal. This game was in doubt. It was a close game. It was a hard-fought game. The Nugent-Hopkins line of Kane, Janmark, and Nuge had played a fairly quiet game. They had sawed it off. They hadn't gotten much done on the attack, but they gave up very little in terms of grade A shots, where they made mistakes at least. They were doing okay, playing a fairly solid game. Nuge himself, I thought, was over aggressive on the 5-on-3. He won a big face-off on that 5-on-3, and they got it down the ice. But both he and Ceci attacked the man at the blue line on the Kings' ensuing rush up the ice, which left. And when the passer beat their double team, they had a 2-on-1 down low. I just thought, like, this is typical Oilers PK madness in the last little while, where they've just been overly aggressive and loosey goosey. And Kempe got his great shot, and then I thought Nuge did it again. He kind of rushed into the corner, abandoning the slot on the ensuing, just right after that, and then there was a wide, just an absolute zinger of a shot, and I can't remember who made it either, that Skinner got a wee piece of, and it didn't go in. So he made a great face-off win, but then again over aggressive. Anyway, the good thing is he made up for all of that by just a fantastic play to get the insurance goal. Skinner starts it off getting the puck behind the net, making a fairly difficult play under pressure to put it around the boards. I think it's Kulak who then gets it, puts it up, and another fairly difficult play under pressure, puts it up to Janmark, who kicks it off his skate to Nugent Hopkins. Nuge takes it to the open ice, like all good players should do, charges up the ice to the open ice, makes a drop pass to Connor Brown, and Chart goes for the net. And Connor Brown makes a very, very nice finesse play, sliding the puck through the Kings defender to Nugent Hopkins, who slams it in. It was a fantastic rush goal. It was absolutely brilliant, and it gave the Oilers that buffer that they needed to get through the last couple minutes, get the win.
Yeah, they did a lot of fundamental things right in the third period, I thought, in terms of getting pucks out, getting them in, getting them deep, and taking shots on net, but no silly drop passes or cross ice or passes back towards their own net that they're not sure they're going to get through. They managed the game really smartly. And this play was an extension of that, where they actually, because they sort of gained the manpower advantage on the excellent breakout, that they made a really sweet play on net to finish it off and finish the game off basically in the process. But I was encouraged by Oilers' overall play with the puck in the third period, give or take Ryan McLeod's icing with 30 seconds left. But
6-1 for grade A shots. 6-1 for grade A shots in the third, and the only one coming right at the end when Fiala got an outside shot that I think was screened by Kulak, and was a difficult shot. So Bruce, let's move on to the bad things. What's your bad thing?
Yeah. I'm not. You may have picked one. You go first.
Okay, well, I'll take the first goal against if you want to
Okay.
take the second. I mean,
Sure.
I don't know if you want to take that, but it was pretty bad too. So Nurse and Cece for at least a month, and I think Darnell for a little longer than that, have been really struggling on defense. And I haven't gone through the numbers yet in detail, but Darnell Nurse has been leaking grade A shots against on defense for some time now. And I don't know what the issue is, but they've got to figure this out. You can't have your shutdown defensive pairing playing this way in the playoffs. It'll kill the Oilers. And it may lead to a trade before then. I think it's probably going to. I think this is where this is headed, because I think that the Oilers are realizing just now that Cece and Nurse, you can't count on them to get it done as a shutdown pairing. And the first goal was a case in point. It's off a face-off, and the puck's kind of moving around, and there's an outside shot that rebounds out, and Derek Ryan is slow. I think it's to Byfield. I'm not quite sure. I think it's to Byfield. And anyway, Byfield makes a very nice play, charges in, gets the rebound off the boards. Ryan's not to him quickly enough in time, and instead of just slamming it on net, he kind of puts it across the ice, makes a nice pass, and it goes through both CC and Nurse, right through both of them. And worse, really, because you're going to miss the pass now and then on a bang play, but they're not taking anybody. They're not covering. Fundamentally, they shouldn't be playing the puck. They should be playing the men in front of the net, and neither of them are. And there's a wide open shooter, Trevor Moore, at the side of the net, on Nurse's side of the net, and he puts it in. He's unmolested. Mm-hmm. So you have their two shutdown defensemen. Neither is taking the man in front of the net on a net play. It's not, Bruce, that is not acceptable for shutdown NHLD men, especially really veteran ones. And I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it because they were playing pretty well before that for 6 weeks. But the last 6 weeks, no, they've been leaking. So not good.
Yeah, that was it was very unexpected pass by
It
Byfield.
was.
I thought, like, it really looked like he was driving towards the net, and he just kind of pulled it back into, and not hard either. It was just sort of a chip pass. I'm not sure if he might not have whiffed on it a little bit, but
Maybe.
he did pull it back and right across the slot. Nobody was expecting it, least of all CC and Nurse. And CC was closer to him, had very little time to react, but Nurse could have played it better for sure. Both the pass and at least, pick a man. Maybe the goal scorer would be a good idea.
Would have been a thought. Yeah, and I know it happens fast. Hockey happens so fast, and before you know it. But this is it. Like, this is why you train yourself in the fundamentals.
Yeah.
So you're always just thinking, okay, I'm in front of the net now, and the puck's around. I'm just going to take a man. I'm taking a man, and going to lift his stick if it comes to him, and that's how you play it. So you're not trying to react, because you can't react. It happens too fast. You have to have proper positioning and proper thought process, proper habits. And I didn't see that, especially, I think, Nurse on Moore himself. So that's my bad thing. What's yours, Bruce?
Yeah, I'll go with the other goal then. And again, it was two defensemen that were sort of the primary culprits on the play. One being Matthias Ekholm, who the second game in a row this happened, where he had full possession of a puck and he just sort of dumped it into the neutral zone, and he didn't even dump it to a place where they had to chase it down. It went right to the Kings, and they just came surging right back over the line. And who was the guy? Was Roy?
I don't remember who had
went
it.
Around, went right around Bouchard like a hoop around a barrel, as my old coach Howie Meeker used to say. Hoop around a barrel. Went
Oh
around
my
him like a
God!
hoop around a barrel. And Evan Bouchard was the first star of this game. Did not earn that first star in this particular sequence. Let's put it that way.
Whew.
And then they took it in. With the odd man advantage, and Ekholm was unable to cut out the pass, and it was ultimately slammed in by the dangerous, what's your first name, young man? Alex Laferriere. Not Laperriere, Laferriere. I see this guy, I hear his name, and I keep thinking, Ian Laperriere is still playing for the Kings? But no, this is Alex Laferriere, who is not a noted goal scorer. This was his 8th of the campaign. A nice pass by Kopitar, who's made a few of those over the years, but was just a play where those guys got exposed, and this was Edmonton's entire first unit that was on the ice, and they just got opened up like
I have
nobody's
no
business.
idea what Evan Bouchard was thinking on that play, Bruce. It maybe was the lamest defensive play of the year.
Uh-huh.
It was so bad. Like, he wasn't even close to making the play. He threw himself out of position. It was this weird flyby, where the guy's coming in and he just kind of, it was so beer league. It was extraordinary. it was so bad. It was the kind of play that I might make. Yeah, it was just, you'd see it 3 or 4 times a game in beer league, but you don't expect to see it in the NHL. Like, it was shocking. And so bad that I thought he might get benched. Like, it was at that level. It's like, what is going on? But otherwise he was excellent this game. He was passing the puck so well, moving the puck so well. He was in on like the 2 goals, like just a great shot, 2 great shots, the one Drysdale tip. He had a phenomenal game otherwise, but man alive, what a play. I couldn't believe that I saw it.
Yeah, well, I think what he was probably thinking was, "Oh no, what have I done?" But anyway, part of his problem was that his partner just kind of, he did get it over the blue line, but not into a good place at all. Like, he didn't make the Kings do any kind of reset. He just Ekholm,
sure.
Yeah, he just dumped it right
great,
to.
But come on, there's nothing that happens on that play without Bouchard.
No.
And then Bruce, he stopped skating. And he stopped. I think he also stopped skating on the play because he might have been able. Like the play goes in, and McDavid tries to make the play and it goes kind of off him and it bounces back kind of out of the Oilers zone. It's going a little bit, and a player hops on it. And I think that was Bouchard's man. So he threw. He not only got beat, he didn't recover, and
Right.
that was a really bad play. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Bruce, what is your number?
Yeah, I'll go with the number 70, and that's the number of points now that Edmonton Oilers have in a very tight race for second, third, and fourth in the Pacific Division, with Vegas currently in Vancouver's in first with 82 in 60 games. Vegas second with 71 in 58 games. Now Edmonton's pulled out of a tie with LA. They both came into this game with 68, but Edmonton's got 70. Kings got nothing tonight, so they're still at 68. And Edmonton's played 56 games, LA 57. So the Oilers have a game in hand and a 2-point lead on the Kings, 2 games in hand, and a 1-point deficit on the Vegans, and so they've got an actual better points percentage, 625 to 612. So the second best points percentage. And now they are 12 points behind Vancouver with 4 games in hand. So it's a bit of a distance, but they're still sort of within shouting distance.
Be nice to get to first, but it's really hard to do that.
Yes.
How many times have we said the Oilers have had a better percentage than Vegas this year, but they're just a point or two behind? It seems like we've gotten to this point.
We've been here for
4 or 5
while.
times.
Been here for a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've had games in hand the whole time, so they've been, they caught Vegas in percentage a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Better price, at the end of the winning streak. And coming into tonight's game, in the last 10 games, all of Vancouver, Vegas, and Edmonton were 4-5-1 in their last 10 games. So they're all kind of spinning their wheels. And only LA and Calgary have been catching up over that time. So the division has tightened, but they've basically been running in place with Vegas in particular, that they're, like you say, constantly slightly ahead in percentage, slightly behind in points, and we're back there again right now.
Yeah. Vegas, of course, has some injuries right now with Stone and Eichel both out. So.
Yep.
Bruce, my number is 10. It's 10 games now. The Connor McDavid's gone without scoring a goal, and so I dug into it, and I was surprised at what I found, because like everyone's yelling shoot, shoot, shoot at the player, right? Like we all think he's not shooting enough, but when you look at the numbers, when you look at shot attempts, okay, shots at net, not shots on. They don't necessarily hit the net, but he's almost got as many this year shot attempts per game as he had last year. Last year he averaged, and this is before tonight, last year he averaged 6.5 shots at net per game. This year he's at 6.2 shots at net. It's not that far off. So he is shooting. He's just not shooting very well. And the other number that stands out is his grade A shots per game. So although he is getting more, he's getting a similar number of shots at net per game. He had 3.1 grade A shots per game last year. This year it's 2.1 grade A shots per game. That is a significant decline. He's missing the net more. He's having more shots blocked than last year on a rate basis, and his rate of grade A shots has gone down significantly, like 30%. So the question is, what's up? Yeah. And so I have 2 theories that he's nursing an injury that somehow allows him to still create all kinds of great scoring chances and put up all kinds of points, but doesn't allow him to shoot. And when you think that one through, I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it does, but what I think is happening is I just think other teams became hyper alert of Connor McDavid as a shooting threat. They saw how Vegas played the Oilers last year in the playoffs with their zone defense. He's just getting zone defensed to death. I think every other team is just so ready for him.
Packing the squad, eh?
Yeah, so ready for him to attack the slot, that he is being shut out more than last year of the inner slot because they know he's going to feast on them if they give him that. So it's job 1, 2, and 3 for any team you're going to face the Edmonton Oilers. Job 1, 2, and 3, keep Connor McDavid out of the inner slot. So he's taken more shots. He's taken this similar number of shots, but they're from further out and from not as good angles, or not. He doesn't have as much time to make them. That's my theory, but I can't say for sure that's what's happening. I'm not certain about it, but that's my theory.
Yeah, well, this tweeted from Tom Gazzola tonight during the game. Quote, shoot it, unquote, coming from Oilers hockey ops booth at press box level, right before McDavid passes to Hyman for his 38th goal of the season, because he was in the slot. And I've said the same thing, shoot, and he passed it off. And of course, Hyman's got a lot of net to shoot at, and he puts it in.
Yeah.
So that's for all those who think he should shoot more often, but that was right out of the Oilers hockey ops box, apparently.
McDavid had a humorous quote today. He says he's going to not score again, not shoot anymore.
Deadpan, eh?
Yeah, he was good.
Absolutely deadpan.
Yeah, he only had 2 shots tonight.
Yeah, I noticed his shots per game rate was lower, and then I read your post and I went, "Holy cow!" When you were talking about his number of shot attempts. So I looked it up under Hockey Reference. They have under each player's stat NHL extra stats, and that keeps track of the shots that were blocked and the missed shots, and it shows the percentage of shot attempts that actually get through onto the net. And the last 4 years before this year, McDavid was at 62, 64. 65, 66%, a little better each year of his shot. Like last year, literally 2 out of every 3 shot attempts that he made were on goal.
Yeah.
And this year it's plummeted to 53.6%. It's like down 10%, the percentage of his shots that are on the target.
What do you think, Bruce? Do you have a theory, or just gonna just?
Well, I don't think he's shooting the puck as well as he did last year.
Doesn't look like it, does it?
He was picking his spots last year, and he was getting them through screens, and he was picking corners and overpowering goalies. And this year, he doesn't seem to have quite the zip on the shot, and whether there's a physical reason for that or he's not feeling it. Last year, he really was feeling it, and I got the sense from early days in the season last year that he wanted to win that Rocket Bouchard trophy at least once, and he was going for it. And of course, he got it. And in the process, he became the first player this century to lead the NHL in goals and assists in the same year, first since Mario in '96, and something that's only been done 13 times in NHL history. Your man Howie Morenz being among the guys who've done it. Of course, the great Gretzky 5 different times, but so he got that feather in his cap. This year, it seems like he's going for the 100 assist mark, and he's setting up, his last 10 games now, 23 for 23 points.
I'd love it if he got 100 assists. That'd be fantastic, though. I really would.
He's up to 70 on the season. That was it was his 70th assist in game number 56. So he's on pace for 103, right in there.
Sweet.
So
nice. Let's see if he does it.
Yeah, I hope so. But anyway, I think our team's packing the slot more. Like he's also, didn't you say he had way fewer breakaway shots this year?
Yeah, it was 25 last year and 7 so far this year.
I mean, it's not even
that's another
area code.
Yeah, like
they're playing him different. They're not. They're trying to not give him open ice to work with.
I think they're really making a concerted effort, and I think that because I think Vegas made such a indelible mark in people's conception of how to defend McDavid, that I think there is a lot of borrowing going on, and I think it is more difficult for him to do his stuff, and so he can't get into the slot, so he's moving around and making more passes to set up other people. And Hyman can get in there, and so McDavid's more like putting it at net or towards Hyman, and that seems to be working pretty well. So he's sticking with that. He's a very smart hockey player. So, I just think if you are yelling shoot, like he is shooting, Like, that's not the problem. He just
Mhm.
can't get those great a shots off right now for one reason or another, and that's what we're speculating about. Bruce, for a conundrum tonight, I think until the trade deadline, we're going to be sticking with trade conundrums. And so the latest rumors are Carrick and Adam Henrique from Anaheim. Um, Elliot Friedman speculated, and this was high speculation. Like, he was clear this was speculation. Well, Anthony Mantha, a former Detroit Red Wing under Ken Holland, from who's now with Washington, and Alex Carrier from Nashville. And I think the interesting thing was there was a debate between, and we talked about this. We touched on this the other night about whether they need another goalie, and I don't think they're going to go in that direction. So we have a little bit more evidence. The clock's ticking down here. I think they're going. I think they are making a deal for a defenseman, and I think that's going to be. I think it's actually their number one need. I don't think this defense is good enough to win the Stanley Cup. I think they need another puck-moving defenseman. Your take?
Well, they got a few needs. I mean, I saw somebody say they had 7 gaping needs today.
7.
I've heard 5, but 7 seemed
5.
excessive. But and all they need is sort of a top 6 goal scoring winger, preferably Hall of Fame caliber. Top 4 right shot defenseman, preferably Hall of Fame caliber. A good backup goalie, preferably Hall of Fame caliber, who can step in and not only take Skinner's job, but go on and win the cup, right?
Uh-huh.
Right. It's not Jake Allen now, is it? So, and it's, anyway. And
I
of
don't think
course,
they're getting Gensel. I
a
don't get
right
the
shot
sense.
pivot
Yeah.
who can win draws and kill penalties and lay on the body and is big and is fast, That guy's a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
And
They can get
right,
one player with salary and one player who earns little salary. That's where they're
yeah,
at.
yeah, that's what they did last year, and they had to move a couple of pieces around to make room for
Yeah.
salary, and they brought on Ekholm as a salaried player who had term, and that was a great acquisition. And then they, had to do a little smoke and mirrors to bring on Nick Bjugstad, who checked an awful lot of boxes for the team last year, and especially at the low price of $450,000 cap hit when half of his salary was retained. That was just ridiculous. He was 300 grand below the minimum, and so they brought him on. They didn't have to move a roster player to make room for him, and so that kind of a deadline. And there's not a lot of space. Like Adam Henrique makes 5.8 million. So even if they retain half, where do you get 2.9 million in cap room? Right? Do you trade a draft pick to some other team to get them to retain some? Or do you dump a player? I mean, the Oilers, according to Puckpedia, if they don't trade until the deadline, because each day's cap space is accruing, they'll have a little under $2.4 million. They'll be able to add a player making that much. Of course, they only have to pay him for the last 41 days of the season if they get him on the deadline. But if you just keep in terms of what's the annual cap hit they could take on, it's about that much. Well, if you move out a player and bring on you could bring on a $3.4 million player if you moved out a $1 million player the other way, like popular choice Matthias Janmark. So if they retained on half on Henrique and you traded, Matthias Janmark to bring him over, then there's just barely room for him. But then there's not much room for anything else.
My prediction is, Bruce, they're going to go hard after Tanev and hard after Sam Carrick. And I don't know anything about Carrick, but that's the name, the fourth line center from Anaheim. So that's, or it could be Tanev and the guy from Washington, Nick Dowd. Like, those two players, I think I don't see them getting Gensel. There's just too many other options, and including teams that want to sign him for next year. So they have far more incentive than the Oilers to give up a bit more for Gensel. Would Gensel even come here? That's another question. So my prediction is it's going to be Carrick or Dowd and Tanev.
Well, Sam Carrick is a right shot center. He's 32 years old, so almost veteran enough for Holland. He's played all of 221 games in his career, so a fairly late bloomer. You know, he's been around the edges for years, but only in the last 3 years has he been close to a regular.
On a terrible Anaheim team.
Yeah. So he's got a big double-digit minus every year. He's got 88 penalty minutes and 8 goals, 3 assists, minus 11. And, you know, that's... but minuses on Anaheim probably don't tell us a whole lot because the whole team would be.
That's it, right? It's hard to know.
And as for Adam Henrique, and Carrick's salary is $850,000, so that works. As for Adam Henrique, he's 4th on the team in scoring. He's 34 years old. 16 goals, 22 assists, 38 points in 57 games. And that's, you know, he's not playing with superstars, no matter what line he's on. You know, Frank Petrano's their leading scorer. He's pretty good, you know. Troy Terry, Mason McTavish, Adam Henrique, Ryan Strome. But there aren't any McDavids or Drysdales on that list. And so decent production. He's been a good player for a long time, Adam Henrique. And he can do a lot of things. He can play center or wing. I understand he kills penalties out there. And I remember watching him play in the World Championships, Canada's shocking gold medal win in 2021. He was on a line with Andrew Mangiapane and Connor Brown, and they absolutely crushed it at the World Championships, the three of them, and they had fantastic chemistry, and they kept scoring these great goals that helped Canada win by 1. And they made a strong impact on this observer. And anyway, but, you know, older guy.
He'd be a nice pickup. Sure.
Yeah, he'd be a very nice pickup, and you might, you know, he would certainly strengthen the middle 6. Let's put it that way, wherever you deployed him.
Could you get both Tanev and Henrique? Could you figure you'd have to move out CC or Kulak, I think, if you were to do that, and even then it would be a stretch. Well, we'll see what happens.
You need retention, or you need to move somebody with real salary like Fogle, you know.
Yeah.
And how bad do you really want to do that?
You don't want to trade Warren Fogle. He's playing really well.
Or a different defenseman, in which case you're not getting any more depth on defense, but you're just getting a different defenseman.
Well, they might have to do that because unless this CC and Nurse can turn it around, I've never been on that train. That they can't get it done, but I don't know. And other people have pushed that for a long time. That that's not the right idea. But I'm coming around to it, Bruce. I hate to say it. I'm just not sure that between them, they're gonna get it done in the playoffs. And I'm not sure that Tanev is the answer. I like the idea more of a puck moving defenseman with Nurse, like a really smart puck mover can get that puck going in the right direction. I wish Kulak was a right side guy because he might fill the bill. But anyway, we're hearing a lot of the same names. It's interesting. Like they keep coming up again and again and again. Mantha was a new name today, but that was just speculation. And I don't think the owners are going to make that trade. I don't see them actually. I don't think
he's expensive too.
He's got a big contract. I think he might even have more years on his deal. So
he's a huge guy, and he's got a reputation of being an underachiever. So, I mean, it's one of those guys that's got a high peak.
Do they really need Rod Settlebauer?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I remember something. I think it must have been Teddy Green who said this about one of the players. I'm trying to remember who the guy was, and he said the scouts were telling me they were envisioning the peak that this guy might have, and he said, when I watch him, all I see is clouds at the mountaintop. So anyway, they've got
Ron Settlebauer. That's
think
what it
think
was.
Ron Settlebauer, yeah,
Ron
sure
Settlebauer.
was with
Yeah.
Vancouver, right?
He scored 40 goals one year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just have a look here. Ron Settlebauer, born 1954.
Yeah, my generation.
40 goals and 16 assists one year. 78-79 for the Canucks.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce, let's leave it there. They got, what are they? Wednesday is the next game?
Wednesday against St. Louis, who they almost owe a little debt from about 2 weeks ago, and the Blues beat them down 6-3 on strength of a 4-goal second period and a fine performance by Jordan Binnington. And so they have a couple debts to pay on Wednesday, and let's hope they can come up with another strong showing and salvage at least 5 points out of the 5-game homestand.
That would be excellent. Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.